up because McKay had a ton of grass in front of him, and they held him to a shorter gain, so it'll be second and short here as Skyridge looks to the sideline to get the call. Hillstead, one of the top quarterbacks here in the state, highly rated recruit, did a great job at Elite 11 this summer. Excited to see what he does this year, and as he leads Skyridge now on this drive on the opposite side of the 50-yard line.
First drive for the Falcons, got all the way down to the goal line, but did stall 4 downs, just couldn't get it right. Hillstead goes to the outside. It's caught for a first down.
Yeah, a little late on that pass, but the pass is completed, and it does move the chains. You want to keep those chains moving. You want to be in second and short, third and short. Keep that pace manageable. Keep that Fremont defense on the field because they are a fast-flowing, aggressive defense, and you want to try and wear them down.
We mentioned Hillstead got him all the way to the 1, then the team stalled. Fake, go to the bubble screen to the outside, going up the gut, and then wrestled down.
Yeah, it's a big gain on that screen. You see the nice cut there by the wide receiver, offensive line down the field, and you're kind of seeing the legs for Fremont start to tire out on this drive, especially coming back from a lightning delay, getting out, getting warmed up. They came out fired up. That delay is going to hurt them a little bit here, and you can see that Skyridge is rolling.
Looks like we're going to have offsides, so move it up a little bit for Skyridge. But Skyridge stalled, then Fremont took over on their own about the 3. They also stalled, but then the punt was blocked, giving Skyridge the easy field position. Then from there, it was an easy touchdown for Tate Walker. So just under 2 minutes remaining in our first half. 1st and 5, Hillstead keeps it to the outside, throws it. Touchdown, Falcons. On the reception was Josh Davis.
Not a great start for that Farmington defense. As I said, they came out fired up. Skyridge, comes down the field. 4 quick plays, gets the ball in the end zone, and now it's a 13-0 lead pending that PAT.
So we've seen the Falcons move the ball on all 3 of their drives now. Fremont has a couple first downs to their name, but hasn't been able to get it going just yet. Extra point is away, and it's good. Falcons lead here at Moyes Field, 14-0. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind.
College wasn't built for me.
It didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Test day's test day. Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
Tests on your time. Courses on your time. Graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit University of View.
Back here at Fremont Field, we had a relatively short rain delay, Brian. Lucky, all things considered. I mean, yesterday's game, it was almost a 2-hour one for the first Thursday kickoff of Desert Hills taking on Brighton. Forgot for a second.
Yeah, and this time of year, you always expect those storms to be a little unpredictable. We saw some massive clouds over there. Also got a chance to see a beautiful rainbow over the mountain range. So, not the worst of delays, and we're back at it with action now.
It's going to be a touchback as it bounces in the end zone. So Farmington. For Fremont, as we mentioned, they've been able to move the ball a little bit. Bodie Goins gets the start. He had one start a year ago where he did get a win in that lone start, but this is a young Fremont team as well. And they know they have a tough test coming in with this Skyridge team that is just loaded with talent, Brian.
Very, very deep on the defensive side of the football, too. A lot of talented players, especially highly recruited athletes. Tausili Akana, one of the biggest names in the state in terms of recruiting rankings. He's a 4-star with 24/7 Sports. But this defense plays aggressive, and they play lights out. That pass is batted. That was Sione Westover. Yeah, Westover, another one of those young players for Skyridge that has a bright future ahead of him, but you're seeing that Fremont's in the right mode. They want to get the ball out of the pocket. They want to get the ball out to their playmaking wide receivers, and they want to get to the edge and try and move upfield. It's a lot of thick, as we like to say, in the middle of that Skyridge defense.
Yes. Coach of the Falcons, Coach Lehman, his last year on the sidelines before shifting into the athletic director role. Coach Hem, offensive coordinator this year. He'll take over next year, head coaching duties, but this is a loaded team in terms of talent and coaching, that's for sure. Pass is lofted, picked off by Westover, who gets a couple yards back on the return, but the Falcons will take over, Brian.
Yeah, Fremont tried to disguise a little bit with emotion, but Skyridge was ready for it, dropped back into the zone, just sat back, waiting there, forced the quarterback into a bad decision. I'm not going to say that I would have made a better throw under all that pressure and duress from that Skyridge defensive line. And now they're back on the offensive side of the football with a chance to score inside the 20 here in the red zone.
Yeah, another great opportunity here for Skyridge to increase that lead as we have 1:30 left in our first quarter. So McKay Hillstead comes back out. But how about two back-to-back plays by Sione Westover there?
Yeah, he's a menace off the edge, and you combine him with Talsili, and it's a danger zone.
Going to be a reverse. Then it was dropped, but bobbled because it was pitched backwards. You can play it. Unfortunately, they probably wish it was dead as they'll be buried for about a 7-yard loss, Brian.
Great job by the Fremont defense there to stay under control, even as 22's trying to maneuver in the backfield there. Great job to keep him contained, not let him get anything on the busted play, and that's a big, big loss for the Skyridge offense.
So it's 2nd and 25 now. This offense has been able to move the ball, as we talked about. They've already been aggressive on 4th down once. We'll see what Hillstead decides to do here. Hillstead drops back, airs it out. It's caught.
It was a great job by Hillstead to recognize the blitz and see the hot, finds his receiver, sets the ball up where only his receiver can go get it, and that's a big chunk back. But they're still here 3rd and long. And this Fremont defense, they're kind of starting to feel some momentum. We're seeing their legs come back underneath them a little bit. And this is a chance for them to get a big stop right here and demonstrate some of that early aggression that we saw.
Trevor McKellen, the reciprocatory of getting that yardage back. Check down goes to Walker.
Skyridge tries to go with the screen pass there, and Fremont is not fooled. Stay true to their assignment, get to the outside, force Walker out of bounds, and it's going to be 4th, and it looks like about 12. And I think Skyridge is going to kick this one.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a field goal. Yeah, so 4th and 11, so it makes sense to hold back on it. This one going to be just over 25 yards. For Ian Kessler. Kessler trying to increase the lead. And it's good. Ian Kessler makes the first field goal of the game, bringing our score to 17-0. Falcons in command.
College wasn't built for me.
I didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Or if my kid had a fever.
Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
I want to take tests when I'm ready.
I want to take courses on my time.
And speed up when I know my stuff.
I want a university that cares about me.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of VU.
Back here at KSL Sports Rewind, where Skyridge holds the 17-0 lead, as we're set to get the second quarter underway here at Moyes Field. Kick is away. It's returnable. Be Whitney trying to take it up. Gets to about the 23. And we talked about it, Brian. It's a really tough task getting anything on this defense, but if you're Fremont, what do you think they need to do to generate some offense?
You got to get short yardage, and what you've got to do is you've got to get this Skyridge defense flowing sideline to sideline. You've got some weapons here for Fremont. You've got some big receivers out there, some good targets. You just need to get that defense worn down a little bit. We saw when the game started, JT, that this Fremont team came out and was ready to compete. They were going head-to-head with Skyridge every single play. The delay comes along. Now it's all about handling that adversity and getting your quarterback some easy rhythm right now.
Goins gives it. Nowhere to go. Falcons all over it on the tackle. Was Elijah Terapia.
Like we talked about, you've got to try and keep that defense honest. Give the handoff at the middle, but you're going to see that Skyridge defense is very stout inside. You know, they're lining up from the field side of things, trying to bring pressure into the pocket and collapse things. And so if you're Fremont, you've got to try and take advantage of that here.
So they lose 2. It's 2nd and 12 from the 26. Goins. Flanked by Grange in the backfield. Blitz comes, airs it out. Just overshoots his intended target.
Yeah, again, it's a tough situation when you've got that overload blitz coming and your offensive line is trying to figure it out on the fly. And the hardest part about this is those Skyridge players look so much faster in person than they do on film. And so if you're Fremont, catch your breath right here. See if you can pick up some yardage, maybe something short and shallow to the sideline. Give your quarterback some time. And, don't do anything risky here because you'll be in big trouble if you turn the ball over on this half of the field again.
For Fremont, it's Coach Claybird's first year with the team, offensive coordinator a year ago, in a tough spot at 3rd and 12. Just under a minute played here in our second quarter. Goins gets a little bit more time. He'll look to the sideline. That was a one-handed catch and absolutely spectacular. That was David Calvert. Calvert down the sideline. He's going to score. How about that catch just run by Calvert?
Absolutely incredible job by Calvert with a one-handed catch. He had a great reception earlier, beats the defender, and he was off of the races. Nobody even close to him from Skyridge. What a great job by the entire Fremont offense there.
You mentioned it. He was pretty much the only source of positive offense for them early on, and then that one just one-handed, able to gobble up the ball, shake off the tacklers, and from there, showing off the athleticism, getting to the end zone.
Yeah, he's got some surprising speed there. Real high motor guy.
And the kick is good. So the lead is cut to 10 after the Fremont score. We'll see if Skyridge can retake an even more commanding lead when we come back on KSL Sports Rewind. So Fremont showing some fight. 17-7 now. And just what a catch by David Calvert. Hashtag rewind top 5 on that one, Brian.
Yeah, if that's not a da-na-na, da-na-na, I don't know what will be in week 1.
Kick is returnable. Unfortunately, tripped over himself. Wasn't able to get it. Was Smith Snowden.
Another one of those outstanding Skyridge defenders. Snowden is a real weapon on both sides of the ball, especially in the return game, but just couldn't get the feet together to get any yardage. And Fremont, with some momentum, I'd look for this defense to be really aggressive right now.
This is the Fremont defense that held teams to 22.5 points per game a season ago. It was 14th ranked across 6A. They returned 3 starters to this team. As Hillstead takes the snap, he'll keep it to the outside. Makes a few defenders miss. Gets a good chunk of yardage, Brian.
Yeah, Hillstead's showing that twitch that he's got, and a little bit of an undersized quarterback, but he has some real movement to his game. Makes a good job on the read, and Skyridge is going to go no huddle with this one and get right up and get rolling again. Try and keep that Fremont defense on their heels.
2nd and 2 from the 18. Just over 10 minutes remaining. Go to the outside where it's caught. And a good chunk of yardage there for the Falcons.
Yeah, that was one of those explosive plays, and we talk about explosive plays, JT. 15 yards or more, that's a great way to keep drives sustainable, flips the field, and now all of a sudden Skyridge is the one that's starting to knock on the door as they approach the 50-yard line.
So that was Cannon Jensen, who tossed a defender to the side before going for the big gain. Ball now at the 49. Hillstead throws it over the middle. It's caught. That time making the reception was Josh Davis.
You're seeing some of the talent that got McKay Hillstead to the Elite 11 semifinals there in Vegas, where he showed out well. And you're just seeing he's a cool, calm, collected guy that's been doing this for a long, long time. And Skyridge is now cooking as they're on the 40-yard line.
Hillstead, the 3-year starter, nearly gets the defensive line to jump there. Checks to the sideline. Flanked by Tate Walker. They will give it to Walker, who runs through one tackle and gets a few more as well. Tough running up the gut by Tate Walker.
Yeah, Skyridge trying to take advantage of that aggressive Fremont front. A little draw play there, and Walker's able to get some good yardage out of it as the offensive line does a good job of occupying their man. Not necessarily getting movement, but just getting the man out of the way.
This is an offensive line that returns 3 starters, and Coach Lehman talked about they're going to mix a couple of guys in and out, but no matter who comes in, they're going to be big and they're going to be athletic, Brian.
Yeah, great big front up front.
Hillstead to the outside. Beautiful pitch and catch there. That reception hauled in by the newest addition to the Falcons offense, Laha Kalama. Kalama coming over from Wasatch.
Yeah, Kalama, another one that's on the radar of a lot of college coaches right now. You can see he's an explosive athlete, gets open, plenty of open field, and it's just a game of pitch and catch with he and McKay right now.
Skyridge keeping with the tempo, trying to keep the Silverwolves defense on their toes. Hillstead going to give it to the outside. It's Walker. Cuts it back for a short gain, maybe 3 yards.
Yeah, interesting play call there with the action going to the boundary side of the field on the counter, but Walker takes the handoff and goes the opposite direction. Fremont defense not entirely fooled on that one. Hold him to a minimal gain, but it still is keeping you on schedule. You're 2nd and 6, 2nd and 7 right now.
Christian Blanche, the middle linebacker, the leader of this Silverwolves defense. But as mentioned, only 2 returning players. It's a tough task when you're going against this offense, who has once again had another phenomenal drive. As they'll give it. Tough running by Carter Sheffield, who will get about 3 as well. So it'll be about 3rd and 3, where 3rd and 3 is kind of that good distance as well, Brian, where really everything's open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about 3rd and 3, 3rd and 5 here, kind of in that range, so have a lot of options. Skyridge being the experienced team that they are, they're just going no huddle every single time. You can see that Hillstead's in command of what's going on.
They continue to do this, get on the ball, keep Fremont on their toes, and then check over to the sideline to get the play from Coach Hem. We'll see what they do from the 11. Hillstead Has to avoid a rusher. He'll take it himself. He'll get in. The electricity of McKay Hillstead on full display as he gets into the end zone in an instant.
Well, we talked about it. McKay is an undersized guy. You kind of look at him, maybe think he's not a great athlete, and you see it on that run, the way he sees the field, immediately tucks the ball, and he is going for pay dirt. There is no way that anything is stopping that train. Hey, McKay, that's a nice touchdown.
Yeah, there are not a lot of guys who could get away dead to rights like Fremont had Hillstead in the backfield, but he makes easy work of it and then carries another defender as well. He's not the tallest guy, but definitely strong. Extra point is up and good, 24-7. The Falcons retake their 17-point lead. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind. Back here at Moyes Field, where the Skyridge Falcons hold the 24-17 lead. Fremont gets the big play, courtesy of Calvert. It's like, well, how is Skyridge going to respond? And it's just been the same thing pretty much over and over again. What do you think's been the biggest key to their success offensively so far, Brian?
Well, Skyridge just stays in control, and they do what they know how to do best, and really it's put the ball in McKay Hillstead's hands, and we've seen him make multiple plays. He's got some weapons. Freeman's got to just be more disciplined. They're right there at the point of attack. We're seeing one right here.
This one returnable. Little bit of green grass. They'll get it to about the 27-yard line. We'll see if Fremont can get some momentum. And it's been a struggle for Fremont, but all it takes is those couple big plays, and that's exactly what they got on the last one when David Calvert hauled that in one-handed. And it really is amazing how many players could just make one-handed catches these days. It feels like every team's got multiple guys who they see the NFL guys do it, and they go, hey, I could do that. So they practice it and get good at it.
Yeah, and Calvert is a guy that we saw right off the bat. He's a tall, big receiver, deceptively fast. He did a great job to stay focused, and as soon as he secured the ball, he was gone. Look for him to get a couple more touches this series.
So Goins coming off the long touchdown pass. He'll drop back again, pressure in his face, lost it over, no one home, nearly intercepted.
Yeah, tough assignment there for the left tackle here at Fremont. He's going up against some of the best pass rushers in the state. Quick early move there from Skyridge, and just didn't have a whole lot of opportunity to get the ball out.
So ball on the 29. It'll be 2nd and 10. And you talked about, Brian, I mean, you get so excited for the incoming season for all these guys, and it gets a little bit of a damper put in when you know you're taking on Skyridge. But that's something that Coach Claybard talked about with us, was that he's a guy who doesn't want his team to play with fear. And I don't think they've played with fear necessarily. They're just going against a really tough opponent.
Goins. The way they responded, and this is a team that's learning how to win, and this is a great game for them trying to do that. As we see a nice completion there to the sideline and a good, decent chunk yardage game. Looks about 6-7 yards there up to about the 35-yard line.
Going to that internal clock in his head, it feels like it's starting to get sped up, feels the pressure. It's like, hey, I'm going to check it down right away, gets it to Grange, who takes it down the sideline.
Speedy receiver there. That's the kind of weaponry that you need to use if you're Fremont. Get to that edge, negate that strong Skyridge pass rush, especially here at the 35-yard line. If they can convert, they'll be in business.
3rd and 4 from the 35, just under 7 minutes remaining. Goins. He'll go back again. That one may have been batted. It was difficult to kind of tell, at least from me, Brian, but either way, it's going to be another. Fremont's going to be forced upon it once again.
They are, and that's a tough one. Skyridge is bringing the pressure. You saw the motion there, trying to decipher what defense Skyridge is in, clearly in the zone. QB makes a great read and just can't get the ball out there, as there's a lot of hands in the way there for Skyridge.
Yeah, that time was Colin Sheffield was the one who got it up, disrupted it. Just another guy who's going to be playing at the next level, and you can say that about so many guys on this returning team for Skyridge. So the Falcons will drop 2 guys back. So 4th and 4 from the 35. We are going to get a punt, but first looks like we might have gotten a little movement. First game jitters, right?
Always a tough task to try to get everybody on the same page, especially when you're Fremont right now and everybody's anxious. You're playing from behind. You're trying to get to your spot. Things are blurring a little bit as a player, and you're going to see some of those mental mistakes at that point, especially with a younger team like the Silverwolves are.
So just under 7 remaining. Punt now going to be from the 30. And another flag.
Again, those big, aggressive Skyridge defenders, we talk about it. You have to hold your water in the offensive line, JD, and you and I understand this very well, having played the position. It's important to do it on punt team as well, and some of these guys are doing it for the first time, especially in a big moment, in a big game like this. You got to get that corrected. Time to pull your heads together, go out and execute.
You don't want to be the guy who false starts, but even more so, you don't want to be the guy who gives up a blocked punt, something that they've already given up on the day so far. So it makes sense they've gotten going a little bit early. Silverwolves able to get this one away. Nice high arcing punt. Fair catch is called for by Kalama.
Yeah, nice job by the Fremont coverage team there, especially with the aggressive way that Skyridge tried to push the punt. They're in that stand-up position. Maybe look for a fake punt from Fremont if they can settle things down a little bit in the future, as Skyridge isn't really in a set position there.
So drive will start on the 39-yard line. Just don't expect any more delays. Sky's a little brown, I'd say, but nice rainbow poking through as well, so should be good for football the rest of the day.
Not quite the double rainbow, but 2 rainbows.
Yeah. So McKay Hillstead takes back over. Sustained an injury during track season. He was in the state 100 to no one's surprise. So he'll drop back on this one. All day to throw. It looks like he's just going to overshoot his intended target in Tate Walker.
Yeah, he did have all day to throw out there, and at the last moment, kind of throws a little bit off his back foot, not able to really get the angle on it. But Walker was pretty well covered. In addition, great decision by McKay just to get the ball away.
So 2nd and 10, 6:35 remaining on the 39-yard line. And just, once again, how about the protection up front there, Brian?
Good protection and really great coverage by the Fremont defense as well. It's one of those situations where both sides are trying to execute at a high level.
That was a very low snap. Hillstead go over the middle on the slant. That one's going to be caught once again. It's Kalama.
Yeah, you can see Kalama, that niftiness out of the slot. He's got some moves to him. Not an extremely twitchy guy, but he's a pretty bulky slot receiver, especially at the high school level. And getting the ball into his hands, it looks like right now it's an automatic first down, JT. So I would say keep going to that well as much as you can if you're Skyridge.
Yeah, ball on the 36 now. That one, another outside snap. Give up the middle. For a short game, but Brian, this is something you understand as well. Just talk to me about how the timing gets thrown off when you have a wide snap like that.
Well, you can see it. That Fremont defense is closing in fast, and blockers aren't able to get across, especially on the split zone there. And Walker does a good job to at least get positive yardage out of it. But that's a situation where if you're the center, you've got to execute because it's disrupting the timing and the rhythm of everybody else. And if everybody else can't get to their assignment, you're going to have problems. We saw that earlier with a bobbled snap and a handoff.
Hillstead, that one's another one slightly outside, and miscommunication is not even turned around. For that ball was Jackson Andrus.
And you can see Hillstead is upset with that one. But again, one of those situations where he's trying to control the snap but also get the ball out quickly. He does a great job. Now, when you've got McKay Hillstead back there, you're in much better shape than if it's a sophomore or a junior or somebody like that that's starting for the first time.
So 3rd and 7 from the 44. See if Hillstead can make up the distance here. Silverwolves just rush 3. It's actually a screen set up for Walker. Makes the first man miss. And did he get enough for the first down yardage? Looks like he's just short, Brian.
Yeah, that was a great job by Hayden Willis to close down and stay strong in his technique for Fremont and hold them just short. But Skyridge is ready to go.
Yeah, Coach Hem going, go, go, go. We'll see what they do here. Tried to get him to jump in a moment, and looks like they did actually. That's another tough one.
That dummy snap count that you see a lot of times at the college level with a clap, and you can see that those Fremont defenders just trying to be aggressive, really buying in right now, just crossing the line of scrimmage, and that's an unfortunate way to allow Skyridge to get the first down. But we're seeing some action from this Fremont defense, seeing a lot more of that aggressiveness and a lot more of that free flow that we saw earlier in the game.
Clock just dipped under 5 minutes. So first down now. Get it going at the 31-yard line. Hillstead fakes it to Walker. They'll go outside. Try to set up the receiver screen. And a great tackle is made, at least initially, but might have been a little bit of extracurricular there as there is a flag thrown, Brian.
Yeah, there's one of those yellow handkerchiefs that you never want to see on the field, and it's going to be holding against Skyridge. As you saw those Fremont defenders, they close well in open field, and it's tough when that defender's running past you to just resist reaching out and grabbing somebody, and Skyridge just couldn't resist it.
Yeah, I believe that was Tucker Keller who held on to Cannon Jensen there. What a phenomenal job. It's all negated by the penalty now, but that was going to be a big play if he can't hold him in place in time for his teammates to come over.
Yeah, there was a lot of green grass on that one, so great job again by the Fremont defense.
One thing that's got to be an encouraging sign for Skyridge and Coach Hem is just how integrated already in the offense and comfortable the connection seems to be between McKay Hillstead and Laha Kalama. First and 16 from the 36. Hillstead protected. Clean pocket. And that one is bobbled and then dropped.
Yeah, again, we're seeing from Hillstead as he starts to feel that pressure a little bit. He's throwing off his back foot, not able to really get the ball and the velocity on his throw that he needs to get it on that deep out route. Now you're looking at second and long, and while we've seen Skyridge be successful, this is where Fremont can really step up and make a stand.
Lindsey Hassel, the defensive coordinator of the Silverwolves, drawing up a little bit of pressure from the right side. See if he brings it again on 2nd and 16. Another low snap. Hillstead keeps escaping, throws it back across his body, and unable to hold on to it. We're going to have 3rd and long, Brian.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Great job by the defensive coordinator to show blitz from the outside and then bring it from the middle. Hillstead felt the pressure, made a throw, not a great throw, got into the receiver's hands, just wasn't able to hold on to it, and now you're looking at 3rd and long with Fremont getting a chance to get a big stop here.
You talked about it, though. Fremont doing a good job getting a little bit of pressure in there. Guys like Hunter Smith and Ridge Lidley creating some of that pressure. Hillstead on the drop. He's got a clean pocket all day. He'll air it out. No one's home, and that's an interception. And taking a knee in the end zone on that one is Ridge Whitney.
Yeah, not something you often see, a mistake there by McKay Hillstead. But like I said, that Fremont defense had started to show some teeth, show some aggression. I love what I've seen from the edge, especially number 55, Zach Delbridge. And it ends up getting a turnover in the end zone, and Fremont will start with the ball on the 20-yard line and some momentum back again on their side.
Silverwolves have done a good job in coverage because you mentioned the pressure has gotten through a few times, but a lot of times it's after that 2 to 3 seconds where you're going to give the offensive line a little time, and they're throwing some exotic blitzes at them, so just an unfortunate mistake by Hillstead, and one you would expect to see on 4th and 16, not 3rd and 16.
Yeah, that's not a place where you need to force that one downfield, and McKay will definitely hear about that from the coaches on the sideline.
Goins checks it down in the flat. And a nice tackle is made for no gain, so drive will start on the 20 for the Silverwolves.
Yeah, maybe a yard or two on that one. Not a big gain at all, but that's the kind of action that you need where you're getting that defense flowing sideline to sideline. You're getting your athletes involved, and you're getting more rhythm for going so that he can continue to feel comfortable back there in the pocket. I'm okay with a 2-yard gain in that situation.
Brady Beers, the Falcon who made the tackle. So 3:35 remaining. Ball on the 22 after the short gain. Skyridge did start with the ball. So the Silverwolves have a chance to score back-to-back plays. That's something Brighton did last night that helped them get back into their game versus Desert Hills. Goins will go over to Calvert again. That's intercepted. What a pick And that was that was Brady Beers on that one. Wow, Brian, he came out of nowhere to snatch that one.
Yeah, we saw Goins really wind up and try and force that one in there to the wide receiver. David Calvert, again, his go-to guy, just a little bit behind there, and the Skyridge defender able to step in front of that one, make a play, and now Skyridge is back in business right where they started previously.
Goins was trying to beat Brady Beers, and he really, you could tell, he put everything he had into rifling that ball in there, and the momentum of it, you could actually see made Beers turn as well. So Goins, we basically now an interception in 4 plays in a row, in 4 back-to-back plays, 4 an interception in a couple plays apart, as I trip over my words. Skyridge, up the gut, staying on his feet, tough yardage. What a first down run.
And you're seeing that sudden change affecting Fremont a little bit there. Walker keeps the legs churning, getting good push up front from that big offensive line. And if I'm Skyridge, this is where I want to really run the ball and start establishing that line of scrimmage again after so many pass plays the previous series.
This is a Skyridge defense that did not give up a touchdown until multiple weeks into the season last year. They were extremely ferocious. We've talked about it. They return a lot of that talent and now create their second big play of the day after Sione Westover's interception. Another low snap. Sheffield gets a few before being taken down by Christian Blanche.
Yeah, again, you see the timing thrown off in the play, but Hillstead able to recover, get the handoff there, and you're getting decent yardage. Those small chunk plays, not always impressive to the eye, but they matter in the grand scheme because they add up.
So ball in the 14, about 2:15 remaining in our first half. Second down, 9 yards. Go on the out route, and it's caught for the short gain by Davis.
Yeah, easy pitch and catch there for Hillstead. Plenty of time. Just throws a little shallow route, and Davis is able to wiggle his way to about a 5-yard gain, it looks like, and they'll have third and 5, 3rd and 6 from the 12-yard line.
Actually, Jack Burke. Check myself on that one. So Hillstead, clock running. Empty backfield. Silverwolves are going to show in pressure. Looks like it's coming up the A-gap.
They're trying to get that offensive line to move, but they're doing a great job of holding their water there.
Yeah, they've not shot themselves in the foot a lot tonight. 3rd and 5. We're going to get a timeout. Coach Hem takes a break. We will as well. 1:12 remaining in our first half. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind.
College wasn't built for me.
It didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Test day's test day. Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
Tests on your time. Courses on your time. Graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of View.
Back here at Moyes Field, 24-7 the lead for the Falcons with 1:12 remaining. JT Wistersill and Brian Brown with you. Had a little bit of weather delay early where Skyridge was able to drive down the field, stalled, but then a huge block punt set them up for the Tate Walker touchdown just a few plays later. And since then, it's been mostly Falcons outside of the big Calvert. Long touchdown, 3rd and 5. Give to Walker, and he's spun down. A great tackle is made.
Yeah, that was a great timeout called there by the coach for Fremont, who saw that the defense was in a line. Skyridge in a clear passing set. Skyridge comes out, tries to run the ball. Fremont does a good job of stuffing it. Now we're in fourth down.
4th and 2, under a minute remaining. Hayden Wills, the man who created the 4th down. We got the 3rd down stop to make it 4th. No rush for Skyridge. They're trying to kill as much time as they can. Hillstead sends the motion across, and we had bodies moving. That's a false start.
Yeah, a little early jump there from the Skyridge left side of the offensive line. Clearly, that Fremont defense, like we talked about, they're undersized, but they move fast. They're aggressive. Finally got one of the false starts that they've been trying to get all game long.
In some ways, the end of this half could be a little bit of a positive for Skyridge, just in terms of they now have a reason to go into the locker room and lay into some of their guys a little bit for some of the stuff, some of the errors that have happened, whether that be false starts or a few of the other things. Clock did start, so ball's on the 10, 4th and 7. 20 seconds remaining. Hillstead looks, end zone, incomplete.
A great job by the Fremont defense. Brought 2 extra defenders off the edge on the left side. Hillstead didn't have a clear throwing lane. Overthrows the receiver. Defender does a great job to tip it. And now it's turnover on downs. And Fremont has a chance to at least come out of this first half with some momentum.
One of the most exciting new coach-player relationships has to be former head coach of the Brighton Bengals, now offensive coordinator for Skyridge, their head coach in waiting, Justin Hem, teaming up with McKay Hillstead. And you could see the two of them kind of working together and working through some of those things, as this is the first half they've ever been on the sideline together.
Yeah, it's a learning process for both of them as well, figuring out what each likes. And for Hem, it's a matter of finding the play to call for Hillstead that he feels comfortable with in those situations.
17 seconds remaining. See if the Silverwolves decide to give it. They do. It's a nice run, but it won't go for much as Skyridge reestablishes the line of scrimmage. Akana and a slew of other defenders in there, and that's going to do it for the half. So the big play for Fremont, really been able to keep them in it, and possibly the play of the night across Utah. Obviously, we're not watching all the other games, but David Calhert with the big catch. Outside of that, the Skyridge offense moving pretty well, but some late issues for McKay Hillstead. Brian, what are your overall thoughts on the first half?
Yeah, not a great half. Definitely not a great close to the first half for Skyridge. Saw some bright moments from you for sure. Loved what I saw from that Fremont defense at the end there. Started to kind of find their aggression, their motor back after the delay. You know, they came out fired up. I think that delay really disrupted what they were trying to do. But really, like you said, the highlight of the half, without a doubt, that one-handed catch by David Calvert. One of those things where I'm just trying to hold my breath, try not to get too excited on the mic. And, you know, we're seeing some good growth from this Fremont team as well. But Skyridge, just you can see why they're favored to be one of the top teams in the state.
So halftime now underway here at Moyes Field. We'll be back with you at the conclusion of halftime for the second half. Your score: the Skyridge Falcons lead here at Moyes Field over the Fremont Silverwolves, 24-7. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind.
I want to run this and we're going to go. Anybody I unplugged that cord, so I'm going to have to...
Welcome back to Moyes Field, where the Skyridge Falcons lead the Fremont Silverwolves 24-7. Hello, everyone. JT Wistersill and Brian Brown still with you on the call. Game got off to a little bit of a strange start with a lengthy weather delay. After we had a little bit of action that featured a blocked punt, a long drive that stalled in the end zone as well. And, you know, going back, talking about that long drive, so you had the long drive from Hillstead and the Falcons offense, stalls in the end zone. Then, smooth sailing pretty much for the rest of the half until the final two drives where they stalled in the end zone and then the interception as well. What do you think the conversation was in that locker room to kind of get things right and back on track?
Yeah, if you're Skyridge, it's about the mental errors, right? It's the mental mistakes that we're making that are stopping our drives and taking us out of position to really extend the lead and get ahead and be more dominant in this game. For Fremont, it's you're highlighting those last two series on defense. Hey, we made a stand. We held them on downs. We created a turnover. We're still in this game. You come out, it's a 3-score game. You're right back in the fight. So if you're Fremont, it's all about staying in the fight. If you're Skyridge, execution.
And speaking of that fight, it'll get underway right here. That one will go out of the end zone, and wisely going to be a touchback, as if that was a attempted return, it would have not gone well. So talking a little bit more about this Silverwolves team. New head coach mentioned last year's offensive coordinator, head coach Bayard. So for Coach Bayard, he was a graduate of Fremont in 2003, and he said he grew up going to these football games, played here at Fremont as we talked about, and he lived in those houses you guys can see just across the way. He lived in those houses, so he grew up hearing the sounds of Fremont games, playing in the north end zone. This is home to him. What a great opportunity to take over as his program's head coach. Has his work cut out for him in the very first game, but still an awesome opportunity for a Fremont graduate.
Fremont's outside here on the 20-yard line.
Calvert caught up for a second. Great blocking. And by great blocking, I actually had a great job by Sione Westover holding up the blocker, making it really difficult. Trying to get around to the outside was Luke Schultz. Schultz doing everything he can and just nowhere to go. Westover all over it.
And that's exactly what you want to do if you're the Skyridge defense. You want to maintain your gap integrity, spread that thing out, allow the defense to flow, and hold that line, in essence, to try and make that tackle.
So 2nd and 9 from the 21. Goins, look for the short pass, has his man Calvert, but low throw is dropped.
Again, the aggressiveness of that Skyridge front, making it really tough for Goins to get anything going. Looking for his go-to guy there, just wasn't able to hold on to the ball.
You know, talking to Coach Lehman just in preparation for this game, just talked about, so how are you guys going to use Tassili Akana this year? And he talked about it. He's going to play all over. He's going to play defensive end. He's going to play outside linebacker. He's going to play inside linebacker. And if you just look at him, he's a long, lengthy edge guy that really could just play. He's a football player. It's kind of restricting to define him by a position. As we got 3rd and 9 here. And it's Akana creates the pressure with the spin move. Goins going to try to run for it, seeing if he can get the outside corner, but he is brought down. And Silverwolves going to be forced to punt once again. Unfortunately, Skyridge wearing those silver jersey numbers, that makes it very difficult to make out in the dark, but it was actually Smith. It was Smith Soden, the one who, or check that. Mark Braid, who made the tackle. Smith Snowden, now one of the Falcons, back to receive the kick. Silverwolves have had to punt a lot today. That snap not able to be handled. Defenders all over it, and they're going to bring him down.
And we've talked a lot about snaps, mostly on the offensive side of the football for Skyridge. Now we see another miscue for Fremont that they just can't afford. Punter tries to scoop up, make a play. You just got to fall on it at that point, my man. And all of a sudden, Skyridge is right back in it here in the red zone and about the 5-6 yard line, going in to score.
Yeah, that snap a little bit to the outside. It's funny because we've been talking about the whole time how the Skyridge snaps have been kind of plaguing them, but biggest snapping mistake of the game so far comes at the heels of the Silverwolves. So it's now on 1st and 10 from the 5, or 1st and goal from the 5, as Hillstead takes over. What do you expect to see here, Brian?
If I'm Coach Hyam, I'm going right to the run game.
That's exactly what they do off the little pitch, but extremely well played by the defensive line of Fremont.
And you can see the versatility of Kalama there. In the slot, comes in motion, takes the fly sweep handoff. Able to get a yard or two, not a big gain, but that's okay if you're Skyridge. You want to take some time and just power this one over the line if you can.
Responsible for that tack was Kenan Fury. So Hillstead on 2nd and 5 again. Rolls to the outside, hits his man, touchdown Falcons.
You see it right there again with the motion. They're bringing Kalama across the opposite side of the formation, fake the handoff. Hillstead on the little half rollout. He knows he's got his guy, puts it right on the money, and Kalama makes it happen for Bader.
So Skyridge once again gets in the end zone. It's going to make it a 24-point game, plus some after this extra point. And the kick is good. So 31-7 your lead. Skyridge in command at Moyes Field. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind.
College wasn't built for me.
It didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Test day's test day. Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
Tests on your time. Courses on your time. Graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of VIEW.
First week underway of high school football back in Utah. So good to have the game back. We're bringing it to you all over here on KSL Sports Rewind with the Red Zone channel. Multiple other broadcasts underway. There's some great games going on across the state right now. Lone Peak, Timpview, anyone. But in terms of our game right here, right now, it's the Falcons over the Silverwolves 31-7 with 9:41 remaining in our third quarter. Kick looks to be returnable. It's going to be Wingett, who's got some green grass before he's dragged down, but a strong return there by Ridge Whitney.
Yeah, and Whitney's a guy that they've got to get the ball to more often. He's a playmaker. You can see the speed. He's lined up in the backfield a couple times as the halfback. Have to find the way to get the ball into his hands, slow this Skyridge defense down a little bit. The advantage they have, they'll be starting it out from the 35-yard line this drive.
Best return on the day so far for either team. So 1st and 10 from the 35. Goins comes back out. Mentioned one start going into this one. Was a win a year ago. Goins will pitch it to the outside. What a play by Akana. As he'll cause a pile up in the backfield. Wow.
Yeah, and you can just see what a neutralizer he is, because it doesn't matter what side of the field he's on. He's just stopping everything. Fremont had a good setup there. He just beat his man to the inside, was able to negate running back from getting any kind of yardage there.
It's hard when someone is bigger than you, stronger than you, and faster than you, and that's pretty much what Tassili Akana is to everyone he comes up against. So Akana with an unbelievable play, and one of the reasons that he has an offer from nearly every school in the country, and according to 24/7 Sports, is the top prospect in the state of Utah. Goins from the 34, 2nd and 11. Pressure comes through, checks it out, and met once again is Grange.
Yeah, the swing pass out there to Brigg, and just doesn't have enough space to operate out there. I like what Fremont's trying to do. Picks up a couple yards. The problem, they're already off schedule, and now we're in 3rd and long, and you're going to have to try and protect and give Goins some time so that he can look for his receivers downfield. Have to think that they're going to go for the big guy, David Calvert, at some point.
There's just so many guys on this Skyridge defensive line that it's hard to leave them blocked one-on-one, and you also want to give your guys time to get out and get open. Looks like you see the bunch set to the right, or they'll motion it over. So Goins from the 34, it's 3rd and 11. He's going to loft it up to his man, and another unbelievable catch. What a game by Calvert.
You know, he's had, 3 catches, but every single one of them has been a huge, impactful play. Goes up over top of the defender there, snacks the ball out of midair, able to get both feet in bounds, and that's a good job of moving the chains for Fremont, except for it looks like they're going to rule it incomplete.
I know personally, Brian, I fell for the roar of the crowd, and that looked like a catch to me, but apparently his feet must have been out of bounds or something, because Calvert definitely caught the ball. So feet just must have been out of bounds, and because of that, Silverwolves are going to be forced to punt.
Yeah, unfortunate turn of events there on that far sideline. Hard to see from our vantage point over here. We have to trust the officials at this point, whether I want to or not,
yeah.
JT.
Last punt was blocked for the Silverwolves. This one, they'll get it away cleanly, but it will be short. Takes a bounce. So downed it at about the 38 or the 37 as Skyridge's offense will come out once again. Had the touchdown a few plays ago, and we'll see if they're able to get it right. We talked about those late issues that plagued them to end the half, but first drive, touchdown, what you want to see. Now, Coach Hem, just continue to see those consistencies, and some of the mistakes they made earlier in this game, you can't make those against Region 4 opponents and win games. Not
against that group, right? This is a Fremont team that has a lot of energy, as we're seeing a big run here from Tyler Walker.
A monster run from Walker. Great hole created by the right side of the Skyridge offensive line, and Walker just explodes through it up the gut. Drags a couple defenders with him as well for a gain of over 20 yards.
Yeah, he's an incredible downhill runner. We see the burst there. As soon as he gets a crease and he's upfield, it is really tough to tackle Tate Walker.
Hillstead talking things over with, looks like Coach Hem and maybe even Walker as well. Don't have a play clock available to us here at Fremont High, so don't know what exactly the count's at, but more than enough time. Snap was slightly high, but catch is clean for another Falcons first down.
And you're seeing Fremont right now trying to play a lot of zone, soft coverage, making sure that they keep all those athletes from Skyridge in front of them. Easy for Hillstead to find the open receiver, delivers the ball well. Part of what makes him such an intriguing prospect, especially if he'll be heading up north to Logan next fall.
He's got going into last year, didn't have a ton of interest, but had the great year. This team did win Region 4 as well because they were the ones who beat Lone Peak, but then fell to the Knights later on in the season. Hillstead fakes the give, pulls back, wants it all, and totally losing the ball, although it looked like it would have been a little bit too far out of his reach on that one, was Kyle Valdez.
Yeah, put a little extra on that one, probably because the wind had his man open over there, but just so much action going on. Tough to get the ball there, especially judging it with the wind blowing the way that it is, and it's an incomplete pass. Skyridge now into second and long.
This game has a first-week vibe to it as well. I mean, Valdez wasn't even looking for that ball. So something they'll definitely want to clean up going forward is those miscues we've seen a couple times, and right on schedule of miscues. Looks like a false start.
Yeah, again, we're seeing a lot of mental errors here on the Skyridge
encroachment,
side of the
actually.
Ball. Oh, wow, interesting.
So offsides.
You never know with a UHSAA referee crew.
Silverwolves had such a good stand. Now give it a little bit. So 2nd and 5 from the 29. 7:12 remaining. Hillstead, shovel pass. They got the first. Nice little play drawn up by Coach Hem.
Yeah, great little action there where you fake the handoff and then throw the shovel on into the interior. That big, strong Skyridge offensive line, they move well for a big group, able to get a little crease, and you're just getting chunk yardage. That's all you need to do if you're Skyridge. Just be physical, establish the line of scrimmage, and get that small chunk, 4, 5, 6 yards a play, and really wear down this Fremont defense.
It's Josh Davis churning the legs. This time the give by Hillstead. Beautiful cut to the outside. He's into the end zone. Touchdown Skyridge.
Yeah, that was just an incredible play by McKay Hillstead. Immediately knows to pull the football, call his own number, cuts across against the grain, gets into the end zone, and it was, hey, McKay for 6.
Glad you got to go back to it.
We're workshopping, folks.
Hillstead just moves at a different speed than everyone else, Brian. It's just amazing. His cuts are so fast. I mean, it's just incredible to watch him work.
Athletic, right?
Yes.
But, he is an extremely twitchy player, gets downhill fast, and has great vision, too. Vision and balance.
We'll wait the PAT, and it's once again put through. So 38-7. Going to be the lead. Skyridge in command at Fremont High. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind.
College wasn't built for me.
It didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Test day's test day. Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
Tests on your time. Courses on your time. Graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of View.
Back here at Moyes Field. When you look at McKay Hillstead, I feel like this is a guy that he's been listed as an athlete before, but I think last year really solidified it. He is a quarterback at the next level, Brian.
Absolutely. And we talk about his size. He is not as tall as the average quarterback, but you can see that he makes up for it in a variety of ways. Excellent athlete. Very accurate when he delivers the football, especially when he's stout in his mechanics and able to just stand back there in the pocket and drive on the ball. Plenty of arm strength, but really it's the running ability that I think sets him apart.
Coach Lehman talked about it. Some quarterbacks are good at one thing: running, accuracy, decision-making. He is a complete package. He just doesn't have the body. It's the only thing, but who cares when you can do everything else well? And how many quarterbacks have we seen that have been on the smaller stature, or Kyler Murray or Baker Mayfield come to mind, that are on the smaller stature and have that success at the next level?
Well, it's not like McKay's going into a game having been 6'5", and now suddenly he's playing at 5'11". He's been this size his whole life.
Yes.
He knows how to compete at this level. But what I really love to see from him, and you mentioned it, it's his decision-making. He's progressed so much from year to year. That's the advantage of being a multi-year starter at the high school level. He's cool, he's calm, he's collected. We saw how decisive he was with that last touchdown run.
And if anyone's like, well, can he do it against Division I guys? It's like, do you know who plays in Region 4? Do you know the guys he's going against week in and week out?
Well, if he can do it in practice,
yeah, exactly.
That alone might be enough. So we've seen that front from Skyridge do some really special things. We talk about Westover, Akana. There's some really strong, explosive athletes that use their hands well, definitely developed. I saw a move from Akana where he swiped the offensive lineman's hands out of the way. It was around the corner in an instant. It's really tough when guys are that technically sound.
Goins gives it to Grange, up the gut. Not much there. Skyridge all over it once again. This defensive line made up of guys like Ian Marinette. We talked about Akana, of course. Deshaun, Toy Lolo. These are just dudes.
Yeah, and you're just able to do so much with them. You're able to put two of your strongest defenders to one side and leverage that against having so much more of the numbers on the opposite to the field side, as we like to say, the wide side.
And unfortunately, once again, the Silverwolves offense facing second and long. We'll see how they'll handle it here. They'll go up the gut once again. That one, a sloppy handoff, but the result the same once again. Just a couple of yardage, and then it's just hard to maintain your blocks when you have monsters on the other side.
Yeah, and we talked about it. The hands, the usage of the hands by this Skyridge defensive line, and there's just not enough sand in the pants for those Fremont offensive linemen to stay in front of those strong, aggressive hands for Skyridge.
I'm not trying to jinx the Silverwolves right here, but I will give a lot of credit to Goins for this. He's done a really good job getting the ball out. I don't think he's been sacked today, Brian.
No, and had a couple flutterers out there, had an early interception, but for the most part, he's done a good job of avoiding the rush.
Calvert at the bottom of your screen, being covered by Sione Westover. Goins making calls. Looks like some pressure could be coming up the gut. Falcons bring it to the outside. Calvert all over him was Westover, and literally all over him.
That was a pretty obvious flag, and we talked about it. You needed to give Goins some time. Offensive line did a pretty good job of picking up the blitz that time. Was able to throw the ball, but Calvert is just such a big target. It's really, really tough to defend against a guy like that.
Not surprising to see Goins look to his main guy, but Westover just a little handsy there. While we have a moment, just want to talk a little bit more about some of the impressive numbers this Skyridge defense has. So we mentioned their top 5 leading tacklers from a year ago, all of them back. Akana, 13 sacks. You got 10 starters back on defense in total. 9.7, I repeat that, 9.7 points per game they gave up on average to opponents last year. They didn't let up a touchdown through the first 6 weeks of the regular season. And it's just one of those things where you get 17 returning starters in total, 10 of them on the defensive side of the ball. So many elite players, whether you're talking about Smith-Soden, Akana, Westover. We haven't even talked about guys like Saxton Higbee in the secondary because there hasn't been any deep passes. They've been doing their job. So just a loaded Skyridge defense. 1st and 10 from the 34. Goins, pressure in his face, lofts it up. And then leveled, unable to hold on to it.
Yeah, and that's where you see that aggressiveness of the Skyridge defense. They bring 7 defenders. Goins makes the right read. Throws a pretty good ball to his running back out of the backfield, who just barely drops it off the fingertips. But even so, Skyridge was closing fast on the offensive player, and it's just so hard to move the ball when you have that kind of closing speed on the defense that you're going up against.
Torben Smith, the one coming over, getting the pass break up. Grange gets it up the gut, and he is met right away. Falcons on him in an instant.
Yeah, and I was signaling to you, I thought that they were going to throw the ball there. A little draw action doesn't go anywhere. Again, 3rd and long for the Falcons, but we've seen it before. This is an opportunity for Goins to really kind of make his money, so to speak, even though these guys aren't making any money here at the high school level.
That was Deshaun Toilolo, the first one through to disrupt it. So 3rd and 11 from the 33. 4:30 remaining in our third quarter from Moyes Field. Kana at the top of your screen. Goins motions Whitney across. He's going up top to his guy. And they tested Smith Snowden, and he made him pay. Snowden with the interception.
Yeah, just not on the same page for Goins and Calvert there. That's his go-to man. Throws it up there, but Smith Snowden, using his athletic ability, using his smarts, knows right where to go. Great interception by Smith. Hadn't called his name practically all game long, and that's why he is such a highly sought-after prospect.
I called the game last year where Snowden had 2 interceptions in the first half, and you just don't target him. The best corner in the state of Utah shows why right there. He's a top 10 prospect according to 24/7 Sports, and how much size is he giving up to Calvert? And he still goes up and gets that ball off. Just incredible ball skills, played it perfectly, gets the turnover.
Yeah, and that's where a player of his caliber and his smarts can really change the field. He knows he's undersized, and yet he gets to the spot before Calvert can and makes the interception.
Hillstead on the fake, wide open over the middle. Shaking out of the initial tackle before being brought down was Mason Palmer. Or check that. It was Trevin McClelland. But just no one in the middle of that defense for the Fremont.
Yeah, it was a great job by Noah Austin to try and close on that tackle, but what a great throw by Hillstead. Wide open, so much green grass, and you have to think that there was some sort of either breakdown in coverage or communication on the Fremont side of things.
Hillstead will go to the outside again. Nice cut, trying to get out to the sideline, hurdling a man as well. And that's another first down.
You can see that Skyridge is trying to use their athletes to their advantage. They know that Fremont has to play deeper coverage, deeper off the line of the scrimmage, and so they're trying to get their athletes into space. You see it right there. Short throw turns into big yards, and Skyridge is back near the red zone. Looks like at the 21-yard line.
1st and 10 from the 20. 3:31 remaining in our third quarter. Silverwolves front 7 had some success in the secondary earlier, got a little bit of pressure through as well. They'll try to recapture that here. Hillstead, all the time in the world. He'll go to the end zone, and it's caught. Going over the top. A great grab.
We talked about David Calvert having a great catch earlier in the game. That's another great throw by McKay Hillstead. You see him go back shoulder to his receiver, only where his receiver can go get the ball, and it's another touchdown for Skyridge. They are rolling right now, JT.
Saw Benjamin secure that one. So after this extra point, it'll make it 45-7. Skyridge taking over Fremont.
College wasn't built for me.
I didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Or if my kid had a fever.
Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
I'm going to take tests when I'm ready.
I want to take courses on my time.
And speed up when I know my stuff.
I want a university that cares about me.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of you.
Back here at Moyes Field, where the Fremont Silverwolves trail the Skyridge Falcons 45-17. And at this point in the game, where still got an entire quarter to play, 3:25 left, if you're the Silverwolves, what do you want to see or accomplish the rest of the game?
Well, the game's basically out of reach. You never want to tell your players to give up or anything like that. But what it's about is it's about getting better right now. And so you want to go out, you want to play your game, you want to continue to execute, and you want to try and improve even though this one likely is out of hand. But look at this.
And one way to improve is to get another great return. Not a lot has gone right for the Silverwolves in the second half. The return game has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great return there. You're going to give them some good field position. Now's a chance for the Fremont offense to come out, try and establish a little bit of a rhythm, try and establish a drive. You know, we've seen some big plays from them, but never seen anything super consistent in terms of a long 8, 10, 12-play drive.
That time it was Braxton Young who got out and made a play in the open field, and there's a spark. So hoping to see something, as you talked about, continue to show that fight and continue to be aggressive.
Yeah, this is a young Fremont team that has every opportunity in front of them. It's a tough opponent in Skyridge, but you want to stay in the game, stay in the fight, keep competing.
I actually do take back my earlier statement. Goins was sacked one time earlier, Brian, on that deep drop he was hit, and that was a fumble. But outside of that, he's done a really good job. They'll give it up the gut, and there's just nothing you can do right there. Swarm of Falcons come flying in.
You know, Fremont is trying to do a lot of things that we talked about, JT. They're trying to establish at the line of scrimmage. They're trying to wear down that Skyridge front. It's just been so difficult. They're just undermanned in the trenches, and that's going to be the case for a lot of teams this year, is that Skyridge defensive line is just so impressive.
So many guys that are difficult to handle that time. Sheffield, who came through and blew it up. So 2nd and 13, 3-yard loss as we're just about to dip under 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter from the 30-yard line. Lots of hands in the dirt for the Falcons. Huge miscommunication on the outside there between Luke Schultz and Goins.
And Schultz had a little bit of space there, but also 3 defenders in the area. It's a really tough throw for any quarterback to make, let alone at this high school level. Like the action from Fremont, trying to do something different there, just trying to get any kind of a spark, like you said.
So Goins will do it again. Calvert at the top of your screen, and that was one thing. So we saw early on who made some of those plays. It was Calvert. Smith Snowden has now kind of gotten the draw, covering him a lot more, and we'll see if Goins looks to his favorite receiver here. Pressure's off the edge. He gets hit as he makes the throw, and that's hauled in. What a fantastic catch by Braxton Young for 30 yards.
Yeah, and Goins, we've seen him stay back in that pocket and hang in there. Puts a lot of air underneath the ball, able to get it to his receiver. Great focus and concentration there from Young to make the catch. And that's that explosive play, 15 yards or more, that you need to keep those drives moving.
What a catch by Young. It's funny, the game has been dominated by Skyridge, but I feel like the 2 catches of the night and the ones with the best chance to be on #Rewind Top 5 are the ones the Silverwolves have made.
Yeah, and they've had to make some tough catches. That's a real credit to the Skyridge defense, but also credit to Fremont for making the plays.
Goins takes the easy dump off out of the backfield. Green grass in front of Grange, and it's another big gain. Back-to-back plays of over 20 yards for the Silverwolves. Their offense coming to life with about 39 seconds left in our third quarter.
Just a great throw and catch there. You're seeing that Skyridge defense start to tire out a little bit, starting to make those mental mistakes that we didn't see earlier, and they're able to exploit it. 2 back-to-back big explosive plays for this Fremont offense.
Be interesting to see how Skyridge reasserts themselves. They gave up the 1 touchdown earlier off the missed tackle. Goins, final play of the first half of the third quarter is a give right to Grange for the short game of about 3 yards, and that's going to do it in our third quarter. But the Silverwolves got momentum. We'll see if they can add to their 7-point total when we come back. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind.
College wasn't built for me.
It didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Test day's test day. Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
Tests on your time. Courses on your time. Graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of VU.
Fremont mounting a drive as we get the fourth quarter underway. JT Wistersill and Brian Brown with you on KSL Sports Rewind as we get high school football underway in the state of Utah. We'll pick this drive up from the 18, 2nd and 16 for Bodie Goins. Will drop back. The pressure's picked up, but the throw inaccurate. So one thing is the pressure is picked up, but there's not really a pocket to step into, unfortunately, Brian.
Yeah, and that's the really hard part about this task for the Fremont offense is, you're going up against some great talent, but it's also a coaching staff in Skyridge that's doing an excellent job of putting their players in position to make plays. They've scouted this Fremont offense extremely well, and so you're just trying to find anything that works, and unfortunately the run game just hasn't been there for them tonight.
See Calvert to the top. Big size difference at the bottom of your screen after they use the motion across. Fremont getting creative here. They fake it back. It's going to be a screen, but well played. A couple of the Falcons were fooled by it, but how quickly did that secondary come up and make that play?
And incredible coaching there with the secondary, right? They're watching the motion. They're checking their coverage. You're seeing guys moving around, keeping their eyes on their assignment, not looking in the backfield, not watching the defensive line, knowing where they need to go. And that turned a potential big play into now what's going to be a likely field goal attempt for Fremont.
Yeah, Luke Schultz was doing his Tyreek Hill impersonation, basically running all over the field, trying to cause that confusion. Skyridge saw it all the way. This is going to be about a 24-yard field goal. Snap was bobbled for a moment, nearly blocked, might have been tipped. Either way, that is no good. And a nice stand by Skyridge. They give up 2 big plays, but respond with a huge stop.
We talked about the importance of correcting the mental errors for Skyridge, and you see how important it is on that series. A couple early lapses, they get the break from the third to fourth quarter, compose themselves, come out, and Fremont comes out of a really good drive with 0 points. That's a tough pill to swallow for the Silverwolves, but it's also a feather in the cap for Skyridge, who, even this late in the game, with that big of a lead, for them to be competing like that, sign of a really good team.
I think it's another one as well where the snap was a little bit off. Would it have made a difference? Hard to say, but just one of those things where, hey, if you say, what's one thing that happened in this Skyridge-Fremont game? Snapping issues, and you had to guess what week it happened in. It's a week 1 kind of thing that these teams are going to work to clean up. Halstead going to get it to the outside for a nice gain on first down.
Yeah, great call by Coach Hem there. Go immediately to the sideline, get this Fremont defense moving, try and get some early chunk yardage.
Brian, you surprised to see a little bit of a tempo feel here as well?
I think a lot of this is you've got an offense that hasn't been perfect, right? And so you want them to stay engaged. Now, it is a big lead, and I understand that, but this is about the season, and so you've got to try and keep your tempo going. They decided to go early. The tempo is a screen pass here and a flag. I think the only thing that's worse than what happened on the field was my side commentary of it, but if you're the Skyridge coaching staff, this is about the long-term goal. This is the first game. It's in essence a preseason game because it doesn't matter in the region rankings, and in the long term, it's not going to matter as far as your season goes. But you want to develop this offense and have them be clicking on all cylinders when they go into Region 4, because you're going up against Lone Peak and Lehigh and schools like that are really, really dominant, and you're not going to have the same kind of size and athletic advantages that you have versus Fremont.
Well, I, for one, think that was some excellent side commentary, Mr. Bryan.
I'm better talking about the plays than describing when it's happening.
No, you're doing great. It's great just to have football back underway. It's going to be fun being with you for the entire high school football season. There's so many good teams in the state. When you're talking about Skyridge, they're a lot of people's number 1 team, and for good reason. We're seeing that on full display tonight. It's now 2nd and 8 from the 24-yard line as we just dipped under 9:30 to go. So a little bit of a drive killer. So see it go to the outside, breaking a tackle and making his way down the sideline. Did step out, but a huge gain. And one other thing is McKay Halstead is no longer a quarterback for Skyridge. It's actually number 12. So Cal Trent, the senior quarterback / wide receiver, gets the call. Going into this one, some people thought, we'll see how long we see McKay Halstead depending on the lead. Maybe that's why they're going with a little bit of tempo, because this is about as close to a live practice as you're going to get to simulating a game-type situation in terms of trying to simulate that close situation. As he takes a deep drop, throws to the outside, and a beautiful throw as he connects to Trevin McClellan. That was not a backup quarterback throw, Brian.
Yeah, and I think that was the most surprising part for us. Our vantage point, hard to see the numbers, especially when they're on that far side of the field. It didn't look like it was somebody different from McKay Hill.
No, stature very similar.
And the throws as well. Yes. You're seeing 2 great throws and 2 big gains, and this Skyridge offense has flipped the field again at the 42-yard line. Uh-oh.
Little bit aggressive on the outside for the Silverwolves. They've jumped off sides a few times, getting a little antsy. This is a Silverwolves team. I mean, the score is 45-7, right? But, this is a Silverwolves team that showed some really good fight and in some moments made Skyridge sweat and forced them to make some mistakes as well in this game.
Yeah, it's just like me at a buffet, JT. I'm excited to get in there and get my plate full, even at this late stage in the game. And, you love that fight and that competitiveness.
Short pass is complete over to Josh Davis. I mean, especially when you haven't been to the buffet in 9 months, because a lot of these guys have, right? So you're coming in, you're ready to attack with the definition of a hungry mindset.
And there's nothing better than a buffet of football plays.
So Skyridge has continued to move the ball despite the quarterback change. Trent goes to the outside, had to take a knee to make the catch before he was hit. Was Jackson Andrus.
I'm not sure if I saw the knee actually touch the turf, but again, we'll trust that UHSAA referee crew down there, that they know what they're doing better than we do up here. Still, seeing Skyridge do a lot of the same things, right? Trying to get the ball at the edge, trying to get that Fremont defense worn down, and it just a really strong effort from Skyridge across the board right now. Big credit to the coaching staff.
Yeah, 2nd and 11 from the 33. Trent. He's got time. Everything opens up in front. He's going to take off. He's met by a few defenders, but a nice game on 2nd and long, as it'll make it 3rd and a much more manageable distance. And you can tell he thought about throwing that for a second, but wisely pulled it back down, Brian.
Yeah, smart to secure the football. Even late in the game, you don't want to be causing any kind of turnovers here, especially self-inflicted ones. Protect that football, but great job to recognize Fremont dropping 8 there, only rushing 3. There's plenty of open field. Just better to tuck it and go, pick up the positive yardage.
Trent decides to keep it, and a great tackle is made, but not before he gets the first down. Great leg drive by Trent. He had Palmer all over him. That's a big defensive lineman as well. So how about the backup quarterback moving the legs, getting the yards?
Yeah, the dual threat action of this offense is really impressive. Just an easy little fold play there with a read action in the backfield. Quarterback decides to keep, gets upfield. If you get a little bit more sustaining on the blocks, he might have taken that one all the way to the end zone for 6.
And Fremont, if you guys can get hands on players like that, then you guys are in good shape, for the season. Dragging him down from behind, making the tackle on that one as Trent got off was Will Matthews. Matthews doing a really good job. But, Brian, going back to what I was saying, I just think, this Silverwolves team has had so many moments where they've made plays, and you could tell they've been in the position to make plays where if they weren't going against some of these Skyridge, the talent on this team, they'd be in great position. So I feel like you got to feel really good about what you've seen overall from this Fremont team. Got a lot to clean up as well, but definitely flashes of what could be a really strong first season.
Absolutely, JT. They've done a really good job tonight. Maybe the scoreboard doesn't show it, but I think outside of a few moments here or there where they just haven't really had the guys to compete as much with Skyridge, they've done a great job. You see this is a well-coached team. You see a lot of those guys playing with good technique, especially on that last play.
So 3rd and 7 here. Facing Carl Trent. But yeah, head coach of the Silverwolves, Coach Claybird. Got to be pleased with the effort. We'll see if Trent Call, as he gives it up the gut. And that's going to be a touchdown. Going in and getting the score for the Skyridge Falcons is Carter Sheffield.
Nice to get the backups a little bit of run in this one. Skyridge has just become a bit of a bully out there, not in a bad way, but just really established that line of scrimmage early, and we're seeing that tired Fremont defense not be able to get to the spots the way that they need to. Tough situation for Fremont with that play.
So 51-7 with 4:25 to go. That makes it 52-7. Backups come in, same results for the Falcons as they extend their lead to over 40 points and remain firmly in control at Moyes Field. 4:25 left in our game. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind.
College wasn't built for me.
It didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Test day's test day. Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
Tests on your time. Courses on your time. Graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of VIEW.
Skyridge continuing to perform strong at Moyes Field, 52-7. They now hold the lead, and I think the biggest takeaway I had from that drive is how about Trent Call just coming in and saying, "Hey, look at me, I'm the captain now."
Yeah, look that Fremont defense right in the eyes, stared him down, and he managed the ship right into the end zone, way better than the captain did. The other captain did, and now I've lost track. JT threw me the curve and I whipped.
This was played you. I know I did. You thought I wouldn't get one in. I still managed to get a movie reference in on you. So
too busy watching Cops.
Yeah. Okay, ball returned to about the 14. So Silverwolves coming back out. Looks like we're still going to see the one offense, at least from this vantage point, as we'll see what Coach Bayard can do from here. But Brian, you're a guy as well who played college football out here in Utah at Snow College, and you just look at, how do you think you would handle the challenge of blocking some of these guys on Skyridge?
I mean, it's a task. You've really got to come prepared, and I think at the high school level it's exceptionally hard because you don't know how to watch film yet. You don't know how to prepare for the explosion. You don't really have that development at this level, and we saw it in action, and we've seen it on the scoreboard how that result played out.
So give to the outside. Twos in all the way around. And speaking of twos, for Skyridge and at quarterback, for Fremont and at quarterback is going to be Slade Parker. Can't go wrong with the first name Slade.
If I'd have had a call in it, JT, I might have chosen that one for myself.
See that chemistry already coming into effect on the first game here. Mentioned it, the first week of high school football back in Rewind. KSL Sports Rewind is bringing it to you in a totally different way. The Red Zone channel is back. More calls, lots of great games and action going on around the state. We've had a fun one here tonight where we could see Skyridge Falcons on full display. Going to be another handoff to the outside before he has met the speedy and shifty Chance Shostrom.
Yeah, Chance showing that speed and his ability to get upfield. Maintains his momentum through contact there, able to get the first down. And Fremont sitting at about, looks like the 37-yard line, has a little something going again.
So Coach Hem and Coach Lehman, their marriage this year off to a great start as they're going to be able to get the win 52-7, unless the Silverwolves are able to pull off a drive here. But it is kind of one of those interesting relationships, Brian, talk about. You got a head coach in waiting, and I talked to Coach Lehman about that, and he said it's been great. It's allowed Coach Hem to, while Coach Lehman handles a lot of the extra stuff that comes with being a coach, Coach Hem can acclimate himself with the players, learn more about the system. And Coach Hem did bring over his offense, but it's an offense similar to what Skyridge ran, and they've just kind of evolved it as well and done it to suit the skill set of guys like McKay Hillstead, Kalama as well. Guys, there's a really talented group, and it's just been fun to see them come together, and it's one of the best offensive and one of the best defensive minds in the state on the same sideline.
Yeah, well, the impressive part about this Skyridge football team is that they can two-platoon. Don't have a lot of players going both sides of the ball right now, and that's a rarity, especially at the high school level. And you're just seeing that, like you said, that marriage starting off with a bang tonight.
Really high snap. Throws off the timing of everything. And, man, a number of Skyridge defenders come through, but making something out of nothing is once you get Sostrom. He's going down the sideline. He's got the speed. It's a gain of about 30 and what looked like it was going to be a loss of about 12.
Sostrom saying, take a chance on me. keeps his momentum going, keeps fighting through it, has that kind of confidence to take it outside, was able to escape a few Skyridge defenders, and then once he gets outside, man, he is lightning fast down the field, and all of a sudden Fremont is in a great position right now to try and get some points on the board.
Yeah, it makes sense to go tempo as well, and I mean, you can look back on it as well and be like, can we play against any defense? Well, we hung 14 on Skyridge. Even if it was their seconds by that, still be something to say. Buying time, just being forced to throw it away. One of the rare times we've seen a ball get thrown away tonight, as Parker has nothing to do but get rid of it.
Yeah, we've seen some impressive escapability from this entire Fremont team, but especially these twos right now. And again, with Skyridge, there is so much talent that even in the twos, they're getting a lot of pressure, getting into the backfield. The problem, and this is the big difference between your starters and your twos, the starters are the guys who make the tackle. The starters are the guys who maintain their leverage at the point of attack. The twos, not doing a good job of it, and I apologize to Chance. I butchered your last name. But that
as have I.
Yeah.
I butchered it as well.
Great run nonetheless, my man. Good job.
On a field with a lot of fast guys, Chance has really struck out. And, running up the gut isn't as much his game, but, I mean, there's nothing available there. But you can tell he's a guy on the edges and just in multiple ways. They're going to try to work into this offense because when you can escape and make something out of nothing against guys like Skyridge, even the twos, as you mentioned, it's a credit to his skill set.
Yeah, and it's an opportunity for him to show what he can do and also earn some playing time into next week. Now, if you've got a guy like him and Whitney Ridge, for example, that's a lot of weaponry that you can kind of put to use for this Fremont offense going forward.
20 seconds left, ball in the 27, going for the end zone. It's batted up, incomplete. So it will be 4th and 7. We're going to have one more play for you here. Parker going for the end zone, getting nothing. And it's one of those things. Skyridge, American Fork, Corner Canyon, Lone Peak. It doesn't matter how many guys they lose. You just know how much talent is in the wings. So that's why you're always going to see them in those top 5 preseason rankings, and why every year you don't see them have a down year. Why any of those teams can knock each other off is it's a credit to the job the coaching staff does at developing a talent, and those players for getting in the weight room and working as well.
Yeah, it's the best way to get talent to come to you is that you continue.
Parker on 4th down. Ooh, incomplete.
Like you said, when you develop talent will come to you. Players will want to go to Skyridge and go play there. You'll be able to reload, and we're seeing it tonight. They did a great job of reloading for the players that departed last year and positioning themselves well going into the start of the 2022 season.
So that is going to do it. Your final here from Moyes Field is 52-7. The Fremont faithful took that 52 off the board as quick as they could, but 52-7 going to be your final. Just your overall impressions from the performance we saw from this Skyridge team and their first showing since that heartbreaking semifinals loss versus Lone Peak. They get out and get a dominating win.
Yeah, they do, and there is talent across the board. This is a defensive football team with an absolute leader at the helm on the offense in McKay Hillstead, and I think that how McKay goes, so goes this Skyridge offense, and I think that's a very positive sign if you're a Skyridge fan. Defensively, exactly what we expected, right? We saw great performances from Westover, from Akana, from the entire defense. Smith Stoughton was a lockdown receiver there in the second half. As soon as David Callert had any catches, they decided to go with that spotlight coverage where he was following him around and essentially negated him for the rest of the game. This is going to be an exciting team to watch with Skyridge because I think, like you said, they should be able to compete with the Corner Canyons and the tops of the top there in 6A. And for Fremont, this was a game where you had to find out a little bit about yourself. You do have a lot of work to go, moving forward. And the scoreboard, in my opinion, did not reflect the effort or the fight for the Silverwolves. I thought they did a great job tonight, even though they did lose 52-7.
Yes, no, 100%. Because, it's one of those things where multiple times they still were able to move the ball and get success. Look, offensively, it wasn't what you would hope, but also it's exactly probably what this coaching staff knew they were very well in for going against such a formidable opponent in Skyridge. But you look at them defensively, the times they made them sweat, saw Hillstead, and they still did something that no team managed to do in the first 6 next week versus this Skyridge defense last year, and that's score a touchdown. So matters for something as well. When you look ahead to the season, what do you kind of expect from the Silverwolves team?
It's just continue to grow and develop and find their identity. Now, they're not going to be playing the Skyridges of the world every week, and so you're going to have some games where you're going to be able to establish the run. You're going to be able to give Goins a little bit more time, but they've got a lot of talent. We saw Whitney Ridge with some explosion. We love that catch from David Calvert, and I think he has a lot of potential going forward. I liked what I saw from Goins at the quarterback position as well. And defensively, they were very well coached against a very difficult to defend offense from Skyridge. They go 4 or 5 wide a lot, and that's really tough when you don't have elite defenders who can be on an eye-line, guys like Smith-Snowden. And not every team has a Smith-Snowden.
Yeah, Smith's a guy. We saw him make an incredible interception. We saw Kana make a number of incredible plays as well. Just dudes all over the field for Skyridge, stepping up, making plays that led to a 52-7 victory for them. Remember the name David Calvert as well. He's a guy I think we're going to be seeing a lot more. And speaking of seeing a lot more, you guys are going to be seeing and hearing a lot more from us here at KSL Sports Rewind. We have you covered all the way this high school season from all over the state of Utah. So we thank you for joining in. This is a huge effort getting these games going, whether it be the people back in the studio or us here as well dealing with rain delays. So a huge shout out to Mike Christensen, his son as well, for helping us out with everything. Brian Brown killing it on his first broadcast call. We thank you for watching KSL Sports Rewind. I'm JT Wistersail. Your final from Moyes Field. Skyridge 52, Fremont 7.